President Gotabaya Rajapaksa celebrates his 71st birthday today. Many factions responded to the statement made by Karuna Amman. Sri Lanka Freedom Party issues a red light. Cost of the upcoming general election still not estimated. Farmers' harvest set ablaze.
A very good evening and a warm welcome to your weekend edition of Primetime News on TV1. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa celebrates his 71st birthday today. The President celebrated his birthday giving prominence to religious observances. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa engaged in religious observances at the historic Ruan Valley Mahasaya in Anuradhapura this morning. The President thereafter engaged in the Kapruka Puja and placed garlands on the statues of King Dutugamanu and Queen Vihara Mahadevi. President Rajapaksa also engaged in religious observances at the Buddha Mandira and Devalaya at the Chaitya. President Rajapaksa offered arms to the Mahasangharatna this morning. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, Minister Chamal Rajapaksa, Basil Rajapaksa, Namal Rajapaksa and several other family members and relatives, friends and politicians were also present. Meanwhile, President Rajapaksa engaged in religious observances at the Abhyagiri Purvarama Viharya yesterday. The president called on the Sanganayaka of the North Central Province, Venerable Putane Dhammananda Thero, and obtained his blessings. The Venerable Thero commended the president's efforts to curb the spread of COVID-19 in Sri Lanka. According to the President's Media Division, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa had instructed state officials to look into several matters, including the renovation of the temple premises and the issue pertaining to the lease of a land that was acquired 40 years ago. President Rajapaksa also paid homage to the Kuttampokana Viharya and obtained the blessings of its chief incumbent, Venerable Ihalagama Pavarakitha Thero. President Rajapaksa also engaged in a cordial discussion with devotees present at the temple premises. This is a look back at the life of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Born on the 20th of June 1949, Nandasena Gotabaya Rajapaksa was brought up in Veerakatiya, Hambantota. His father, D.A. Rajapaksa, was a prominent character in Sri Lanka's political sphere. Mahinda Rajapaksa, Chamal Rajapaksa and Basil Rajapaksa are the older brothers of Gotabaya Rajapaksa. A past pupil of Ananda College, Colombo, Gotabaya Rajapaksa obtained a degree in information technology from the University of Colombo in the year 1992. A retired military officer, he was appointed as the Defence Secretary of the country in 2005 under the government of Mahinda Rajapaksa. The first challenge that former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa faced was defeating the terrorists in the country at the time he was appointed to office. Against such a backdrop, he was once the target of a terrorist attack. After the end of the war in 2009, Gotabaya Rajapaksa laid the foundation for the urban development program in Colombo. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who gave leadership to the Vietmag organization, was named as the presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna on the 11th of August last year. After 98 days of political campaigning, Gotabaya Rajapaksa was elected as the 7th executive president of Sri Lanka after obtaining 6.9 million votes. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, during his tenure as president, has initiated several measures to uplift the public service in Sri Lanka. President Rajapaksa's efforts to curb the spread of the global pandemic COVID-19 in Sri Lanka was commended by many in the local and international platform. Gotabaya Rajapaksa recently addressed the non-aligned heads of state in an effort to position Sri Lanka's foreign policy with dignity. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, we wish you a happy birthday. Now taking a look at some local news. How much will the upcoming general election cost the public? Commissioner General of the National Election Commission, Saman Sri Ratnayaka, spoke to journalists in this regard.
We cannot estimate an exact amount. We must hold trials for counting of votes as well. We must estimate how time-consuming this process is, and depending on that, the payments to staff members will differ. We must also provide face masks and hand sanitizers to everyone. Due to the health guidelines issued, we are still unsure of the exact cost. We should be able to provide an estimate within the next 2 weeks.
While the entire country is focused on the election, the claims made by former Sports Minister Mahindananda Alutkamage that the finals of the 2011 World Cup had been fixed has stirred up controversy. These were the views expressed in connection to this.
No matter how much managers try to solicit money secretly, a cricket match cannot be fixed if the players don't support it. That is why we saw players like Mahela Jayawardena and Kumar Sangakkara criticize the statement made by the minister. If there was evidence to prove that it has been fixed, why did he wait for 9 years since 2011? Players like Kumar Sangakkara and Mahela Jayawardena spoke from a policy standpoint. The corrupt group had failed to bring them towards their side. Therefore, they are slinging mud at them.
මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ මැති ඇමතිවරුන් දැලිපිහි අතර ගත්ත වඳුරා වගේ හැරණ හැරණ හැම පැත්තම කප කපා තමයි යන්න හදන්නේ.
The former sports minister had made a revelation claiming that Sri Lanka had lost the final of the 2011 World Cup due to match fixing. This is a very serious statement. The question is, why did he make such a statement after 9 years? On one hand, he is saying that the players were not involved. If that is the case, who is responsible? He should name those individuals. Is it Thilanga Sumatipala or Suraj Dandaniya? Former sports minister Mahindananda should reveal as to who was involved in match fixing. If Mahindananda had made a false remark, the law must be enforced against him. That is because he degraded the reputation and the respect of the country.
Nowadays, claims about match fixing in cricket has surfaced. They are trying to infuse new topics into the minds of the people. Dayasri Jayasekara is in his faction. He could have inquired about it from him before making such a statement to the media. He hasn't asked about it. This is merely a topic of discussion after the coronavirus. They are trying to create a mindset relating to cricket now. Therefore, do not be deceived by that.
What is the ICC going to do if such a remark is made by a former sports minister? Is the ICC implementing a two-faced policy? If a minister is making this remark over such an incident, why isn't the ICC investigating this matter? I remember that when we won the 1996 World Cup, the war had been stopped for a few days in the country. That is because of the love towards the game of cricket. We wish to tell the cricket-loving public to continue to stand by cricket and the players. Cricket in Sri Lanka is not the sporting body Sri Lanka Cricket or minister. Cricket in Sri Lanka is something about you and me.
ලංකාවේ ක්‍රිකට් කියන්නේ උබයි මමයි. ශ්‍රී ලංකා ක්‍රිකට් අපේ ක්‍රිකට්.
Is there any team that made 4 changes to its lineup during the final of its tournament? There is only one country that has done that.
The remarks made by Karuna Amman, the leader of the Tamil United Freedom Front, has become a talking point in the country.
He is not contesting from our party. However, if he wins the election and enters parliament, he would support us. He is a former minister. He had held cordial discussions with the president as well. If he enters parliament, we have his support.
These were the responses made over the remarks made by Vinayagamurthy Muralidharan, the leader of the Tamil United Freedom Front, today.
Mahinda Rajapaksa gave this war criminal a chance to enter parliament through the national list twice. Karuna Amman is said to be the person who ordered the Arantalawa massacre of Buddhist monks. Karuna Amman also faces allegations regarding the bomb attack on the monks at the Sri Dalda Maligawa. Karuna Amman is also said to be linked to the attack near the Sri Mahabodhi. It is this person who committed war crimes that Mahinda Rajapaksa had protected for several years and sent him to parliament through the national list. How will the monks and the soldiers feel after listening to his remarks? This is a good opportunity to understand the dishonest, opportunistic politics of those who beat their chests, kiss the ground and claim that there is no one other than them who love the country. Why was this remark made? That was to win the votes of the Tamils in the eastern province. What is the legal action that would be taken regarding this? Legal action must be taken against him over war crimes. An investigation must be carried out into this.
වහාම ගෙනියලා නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න ඕන විමර්ශනයක් ආරම්භ කරන්න ඕන.
These are the type of people whom Mahinda Rajapaksa has made as the vice chairman of his party and nominate for the parliamentary election. We express regret over this. We wish to ask them as to what is the nature of this politics that they are indulging in.
As the Prime Minister who is responsible to the people, Mahinda Rajapaksa must issue a statement concerning these remarks. Karuna Amman yesterday said that the vice chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party as well as Mahinda Rajapaksa had invited him to enter parliament through the national list, which exists to incorporate professionals and intellectuals into politics. He then says that entering parliament after contesting is better. If he is trying to enter parliament after bragging about murdering soldiers to win votes in the eastern province, we wish to ask, is this the change that was promised?
They speak about murdering the tigers to win the votes of the Sinhalese while speaking about murdering the soldiers to win the votes of the Tamils. This shows that the Rajapaksa camp pretends to be so-called patriots who sweep matters under the carpet using their powers and show that they are willing to do anything for power. It was further proven that they are a group which is hungry for power more than being patriotic.
If he admits that he had killed 3,000 soldiers, should he be sent to parliament through the national list? Legal action must be taken against him immediately. A person who should be in prison for 30,000 years is contesting the election under the blessings of Mahinda Rajapaksa. They are boasting about murdering 3,000 soldiers.
What is Karuna Amman saying? He says that around 2,000 to 3,000 have been killed within a single night at Elephant Pass. He concedes that he is more dangerous than the coronavirus and that Mahinda Rajapaksa had invited him to join the national list as he did twice previously. He says he refused to accept the request and that he will contest and win. We wish to ask those who claim to be patriotic and the politicians who claim to love the country as to what they have to say. The Rajapaksas must provide answers to this. The president must say as to what action will be taken against Karuna. He says that he had murdered 2,000 army personnel within one night. Karuna Amman bears the blood, sweat and tears on his hands, is attempting to re-enter politics for the third time through the Rajapaksa camp. We wish to ask the 6.9 million people as to whether they are happy about this.
අපිට අවසාන වශයෙන් අහන්න තියෙන්නේ 69 ලක්ෂයට සනීපද සැපද
The close companion of Prabhakaran, who is a murderer, is saying that he killed between 2,000 to 3,000 people at Elephant Pass, while there are no records on the number of people who were killed in Kilnochi. He says that he had killed police and army officers. If they are trying to make this person as a member of the SLPP and form a government, I wish to tell the important people in the SLPP to wake up.
Promises being made to the people by aspiring public representatives become commonplace come the election season. Unfortunately, most of those promises are almost always limited to words. Today we will reveal to you of a construction of a road which coincidentally commences only when election is upcoming, and that is the beach road in Iranavilla, Chilav. Last week, when construction of the road recommenced, it was evident that this too was merely a deception. Confirming our suspicions, reconstruction of the road, which recommenced on the 7th of this month, has now been halted. On the 7th of this month, construction activities commenced under the auspices of former State Minister Piyankara Jayaratne. The signboards placed in the area states that provisions for this project had already been set aside by Piyankara Jayaratne. A few days later, more signboards were witnessed in the area, but only this time it was with the name of former Minister Sanat Nishanta, claiming the ownership of the project. The Ministry of Road Development has allocated 500 million rupees to construct this road, and equipment required for the project are already set up at the construction site. However, Construction activities are yet to commence.
They say the project will only commence after the election. We do not know what will happen after that. Both politicians are from the same party. We urge them to construct at least 5 kilometers. We ask them to discuss this matter and to solve this issue. One participated and the other disagrees. Is this how they support us?
When construction activities commenced on the 7th of this month, a local representative had this to say.
Equipment was set up here even before, but they were taken away thereafter. If they try to do this again, I state with much responsibility, we will not allow them to leave with their equipment. We together with locals will use this equipment to construct the roads.
This is not the first time equipment was set up promising the commencement of the construction project.
They bring in equipment, set them up and take them away. We are not sure whether this will happen again.
Villagers claim that such equipment was set up before the previous election and was taken away after the conclusion of the election.
This project must be carried out. They cannot fool anyone.
Cultivating for farmers means investing all of their savings with the hope that their harvest will give them an income to make ends meet. But what happens when the farmers are compelled to burn their harvest? This is a report from Pahalagama. This is the hard work and sacrifice of farmers in Pahalagama set ablaze.
I will never cultivate beans again. Can you see what's happening? We cannot have any hope in farming.
Yard-long beans, better known as Mekaral, is cultivated across 20 acres of land in the Pahalagama area, which belongs to the Mahavalley H zone. The absence of a proper price to sell their goods is what led to these farmers setting ablaze their harvest. The farmers claim that approximately 100 and 1,000 rupees is spent to cultivate yard-long beans on an acre of land. But now these farmers are only left with a stock of vegetables that cannot be sold.
I have no income. The end of my cultivation is the end of my life. We only receive 1/4 of the price sold at the market. We were not given water for paddy farming. Supplementary crop cultivation was always given water. So we started planting long beans. This is the season to harvest. We cannot sell our products even in the market.
These farmers were left with no other option than to destroy their own crops. They blame the authorities for their failure in carrying out their duties.
Seeds are available in shops. The farmers buy these seeds and plant them without thinking twice. Leaders are elected to power to solve our issues.
If the authorities fail to solve this issue soon, the villagers claim that their farmers will be compelled to destroy their harvest over and over again and distancing themselves from farming itself.
The key to the lock will be given when the water is provided. This was the hoarding written by farmers in Ambilipitia whose cultivation has been hampered due to the lack of sufficient water supply. The Mahavalley authority is responsible for providing water to this paddy field spreading across 151 acres of land. These farmers stress that water should be supplied to their farmlands for 4 days per week. However, the floodgates of the canal are opened only for 2 days, resulting in the farmers taking control of the floodgates.
Water flows from this stream every day, but our farmers' organization is allowed to use water from this stream only 2 days a week. There are 49 farmers and 151 acres of land. What can you do in 2 days? We have placed another padlock on top of the existing lock. We will unlock it every 4 days. We open the lock after collecting water for 4 days. Until then, the lock remains as it is.
It has been 45 days since these farmers commenced cultivating paddy. Due to the lack of sufficient water, these farmers claim that their paddy fields have already started to dry. The farmers are of the stance that if those in power fail to carry out their duties, they are compelled to make such decisions.
There is no point in living. Our children will die without food.
Welcome back. Stiff opposition has been raised in the country against signing the MCC agreement with the United States. Although Sri Lanka has not signed the MCC agreement, Nepal had signed the MCC pact in 2017. Citizens of Nepal who are expressing strong objection against the agreement are demanding that the parliament must not approve it, although the pact had been signed by the rulers of the country. The people of Nepal say that national requirements and the country's sovereignty will be hampered if parliamentary approval is given towards this agreement.
The US government's Millennium Challenge Corporation and the government of Nepal signed a $500 million compact to help strengthen Nepal's energy sector, improve regional energy connectivity and control transportation costs to encourage growth, private investment and job creation. The agreement with Nepal is MCC's first compact in South Asia.
Following a revelation which showed that the MCC agreement is harmful to the country, members of the ruling and opposition factions voice objection towards the pact. While objection continues to be raised, newspaper reports cited that the US ambassador as saying that a decision would be reached with regard to the MCC agreement after the parliamentary election. What happens now?
We can see that the US ambassador is trying to support the opposition by bringing this to the forefront. Therefore, people must not be misled by this. The people of this country will not allow the MCC agreement to be implemented. Therefore, the people and the president are against the MCC agreement. Although the cabinet is involved, the president will not allow these things to be implemented.
It is the people in the SLPP who said that the United National Party is planning to sign the MCC agreement and it will cause a negative impact on the country. However, these people are clinging on to a portion of the power and sweeping this under the carpet until they secure complete power to implement it after the election. The people must understand this. The lack of fertilizer faced by farmers is one topic. The increase in the prices of goods is another topic. Mahinda Ananda Alutgamage has stirred up another topic regarding cricket. However, the serious matter is the MCC agreement that has been proposed by the US. There is a possibility that they might bring this agreement again by changing its appearance without altering its content. These are things that the rulers of this country will do. They have done it as well. We are cautious about such incidents.
The Janata Vimukti Peramuna, which did not utter a single statement when Ranil Wickremesinghe had set up the MCC office at Temple Trees and had taken steps to sign the preliminary agreement, is now stating that they would fight to prevent the agreement from being signed despite knowing that we won't do it. No one will have to strive hard to prevent that from happening. Our government will not sign the MCC agreement. The ambassador is saying that it would be discussed after the election. She has the right to think like that. Holding discussions and agreeing towards it are two different things. The babies in the Janata Vimukti Peramuna don't understand that.
Why do they have to review it? Previously, they did not speak about reviewing it. The US Embassy is announcing that the agreement would be signed after the election is over. The government is beating around the bush and saying they would consider it. What is there to think about this? Was this what they said during the presidential election? You might recall how they repeatedly slung mud at the MCC agreement.
A proposal had been made during the previous government to sign the MCC agreement that would see the US-based Millennium Challenge Corporation issuing a grant of $480 million to develop the transport system and for land administration in the country. Sri Lanka has already signed the AXA agreement, which was expanded during the previous government. However, several problematic activities had taken place in the past while only the AXA agreement had been signed. Suspicion arose after a US diplomat had entered the country recently without undergoing a PCR test. Members of the government later revealed that the diplomat, who holds a diplomatic passport, is a member of the Indo-Pacific Command. No action has been taken yet against this official. Is there a purpose of wasting time by simply staring at the incident? Shouldn't the relevant action be taken today?
That diplomat entered the country without undergoing the test by completely disregarding the country's laws and the quarantine regulations. Until today, we don't know whether this person is a coronavirus patient or not. What is the US Embassy saying regarding this? Who will bear responsibility over this? Do we know as to how many people had been infected by the coronavirus as a result of this action?
Sri Lanka's independence was gifted to Britain in 1815 when a small coterie of nobles signed an agreement. The freedom that was lost in 1815 was won back by the people who sacrificed their lives for the sake of Sri Lanka's independence. The nobles only served themselves and became wealthy during this period. Today, those entrusted with the governance of this country should remember that they are the custodians of this hard-won freedom. They should remember that it was the common man and woman who fought for our independence, and this independence cannot be compromised for any reason.
The Buddha statue that was donated by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa was placed at the Mulgirigala Rajamaha Vihare today.
The statue was airlifted from the Veerakatiya Rajapaksa grounds. Officers of the Sri Lanka Air Force took part in this process. The statue was placed on a rock situated in the Mulgirigala Rajamaha Vihare. The statue will be open for the devotees on the Asalapoya day.
Villagers of Latugala in Ampara are facing a severe water crisis due to a water project gone wrong. Due to this dysfunctional project that consumed 800,000 rupees of public funds, the Latugala village is compelled to depend on water bowsers.
The Latugala village is located on the border of the Uhana division in Ampara. As the Latugala village does not have any water bodies in the area, the move to construct a water project was warmly welcomed by the locals. However, after 2 months, the water project was no longer in operation, resulting in the villagers to suffer due to the lack of clean drinking water. This is the period when we need water the most. There is no spring water. There are no other sources of water in this area. Because of that, we have no other means of clean drinking water. More than 250 families are residing in this area who travel far to fetch water amidst the fear of wild elephants. A bowser belonging to the water board distributes water to the residents. Only one bowser comes. That also comes in the main road. The people collect water using their kitchen equipment. If we use water to take a bath or to wash clothes, we won't have enough for tomorrow. We have to wait until the next water bowser comes tomorrow. Villagers say that all attempts made to inform the authorities about the lack of water for daily activities have been futile.
Authorities tell us to inform their superiors. This machine is broken. To bring spare parts, one would have to go abroad. So we have to hear those stories. Locals of Latugala urge the authorities in power to solve this issue.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa attended a party supporters meeting in Galgamuwa today. The meeting was organized by the chairman of the Galgamuwa Pradeshya Sabha, H.K. Vimalaratna.
During the past 5 years, we all witnessed how things happened in the government. When the Prime Minister brings forward a proposal, the President opposes it. When the President brings forward a proposal, the Prime Minister opposes it. Members of the Cabinet were fighting among themselves. Ultimately, the general public lost 5 years of development. Those who spoke about democracy postponed the holding of elections. They postponed local government elections, but they failed to postpone the presidential election. We fought for it. After we won the presidential election, the opposition had a majority and we could not do anything. We could not get funds approved for state expenditure.
A campaign rally of the Samagi Jana Balavegaya was held in Walpala, Angoda today under the auspices of its leader Sajith Premadasa.
Many factions, including political representatives, members of the party, and civil society representatives, participated in the event.
Former LTT leader Karna Amman served as the vice chairman of the SLFP during the Mahinda Rajapaksa era. He served as a deputy minister in his government. Yesterday, Karna Amman made a statement claiming that he is more dangerous than the coronavirus. He backed his statement saying that he killed 3,000 members of the army in one day. Mahinda Rajapaksa has said that he will make Karna Amman a member of parliament through the national list. I would like to know the response of the government to the statement made by Karna Amman. Is killing 3,000 members of the army a requirement to become a member of parliament? We all know that the team was involved with the attacks on the sacred tooth relic in Kandy. They have been involved in the killings of Arantalawa. Now he is shamelessly admitting that he killed 3,000 army personnel. What are the actions taken by the government regarding this? Karna Amman worked for the Pohottua during the presidential elections. I want the government to respond to it.
Foreign investors have sold 1.9 billion rupees worth of treasury bills and bonds during the past week, marking an 8.21% weekly decline.
The reserve money has decreased compared to the previous week, mainly due to the decrease in currency in circulation and deposits held by commercial banks with the central bank. By 19th June 2020, the all-share price index had increased by 1.54% to 4,990.42 points, and the S&P SL20 index increased by 4.94% to 2,156.53 points compared to the index values of last week. During the year up to the 19th of June 2020, the Sri Lankan rupee depreciated against the US dollar by 2.6%. From the 13th to the 19th of this month, crude oil prices largely showed an increasing trend. During the week, prices rose mainly due to the decision of Iraq to reduce crude oil production to comply with OPEC production cuts.
In a bid to revive the local tourism industry, the Sri Lanka Inbound Tour Operators launched its youth wing last week. The inauguration of Sligo Youth was held in Colombo last week under the patronage of Namal Rajapaksa. Maxim Wickramasinghe was elected as the president of Sligo Youth.
I think as a country, we need to rethink and restructure our tourism industry. In order to reach 5 million tourists, we need to build the infrastructure that can cater to that. Not only hotel nights or vehicles or destinations, but we need airports. We need infrastructure in the airport that can handle 5 million tourists. Because today, the traveling industry has changed, the travelers has changed. And if you want to get the best out of it, we have to change our systems that can cater to that.
We need to expand the menu that we offer to our visitors. It's not only the beaches, the historic sites, the tea estates, but there are other things that we need to offer, especially to the young crowd. Australians pour into Bali and Fiji. Why isn't anybody pouring into Sri Lanka? We need to market ourselves. Sri Lanka cannot compete with the region for big hotels and luxurious hotels, but we have other attractions to offer. We need to get on the social media, we need to publicize what we have a lot more.
Tourists that will travel in these difficult times of COVID-19 needs a very high legal protection. The risk of being insured for a eventual repatriation flight, the risk of being insured for an incident at the hotel, and the guarantee to have a person of contact in the country that is able also to speak the native language of the tourist. I think that is also very important to have really a coordinated dialogue with the common goal to promote Sri Lanka as a more important tourism destination for the upcoming years.
A media conference organized by the Organization of Professional Associations was held in Colombo yesterday prior to the 33rd annual conference of the OPA titled Bounce Back Disasters, Opportunities.
Speaking at the event, President of the OPA, Saman Warusavithana, spoke about Sri Lanka's ability to bounce back after situations that either slowed down the economy or brought it to a complete halt.
Now, we faced many disasters, Easter Sunday attacks. A lot of people thought that it would take a long time to revive, but we came, we could come back, bounce back it's very fast. Even you look at the tsunami, the perception of internationally, people thought that you would not be able to, restore our normalcy even for 10 years. But the beauty of our nature of people, they are, whether it's Sinhalese, Tamil, or Muslim, or whomever, we have very good qualities, and we work together and looked after each other, so we could come back.
Some sectors have already bounced back to some extent. So they have now, some entrepreneurs have found some alternative ways of coming up and developing their businesses. And with the help of this financial support coming from the government and from the banks, I think their opportunities have been opened for them to start their business and also to improve their business, but not in the conventional way, sometimes in different way.
Arthur C. Clarke Institute states that Sri Lankans will be able to witness a partial solar eclipse tomorrow. The initial display of the eclipse will be visible to the Jaffna district at 12:23 a.m.
In this eclipse, the maximum coverage of the sun's face from the moon is 24%. It will be visible from areas of Kites, Kankasanture, Valvetiture and Point Pedro. Arthur C. Clarke Institute further added that the eclipse is expected to be displayed above Colombo tomorrow, starting from 10:29 a.m. and it will peak at 11:51 a.m. and end at 1:19 p.m. When viewed from Colombo, the moon covers a maximum of 16.05% of the sun's face. This partial solar eclipse should not be directly looked at. Arthur C. Clarke Institute advises that when observing the partial solar eclipse, it must be done using special glasses or number 14 welding glass. This is the path of the annual solar eclipse on the 21st of June 2020.
The eclipse begins with moon entering between the sun and the earth, a path, a straight line, and covering the sun by the moon. There will be a solar eclipse tomorrow visible to Sri Lanka and many parts of the world. It's an annular solar eclipse for some countries. However, for Sri Lanka, it will be appearing as a partial solar eclipse.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News. On behalf of the Newsfirst team, I'm Zinat Musafir, and tonight's news interpreter is Tharaka Gabriel. We leave you tonight with another rendition of the Negative Sri Lanka song. Good night and
Nagitimu, Sri Lanka.